President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu's visit to Rivers State to commission projects executed by the governor of the state, Nyesom Wike, who on Tuesday declared Wednesday, May 3rd, as a public holiday in honor of Tinubu's visit. Well, Tinubu, while delivering his speech at the inauguration of a flyover in Obiokpo local government area of the state, promised that his administration would lead legacy projects across the length and breadth of Nigeria. He thanked the people of Rivers State for the pivotal role they played in his emergence as president-elect. Tinubu, however, rejected the request made by Governor Wike for a refund of money spent by the state government on all federal roads in Rivers State, stating that he owes him nothing.
I will leave Sanwo-Olu to give you back your banter and response. I am the president-elect. The 12th flyover and the demand you made for refund, I owe you nothing. It's your road. You can chuckle me and make a demand. You are the one living on this road. I commend your effort. You have to lobby me to collect.
I can hear you singing, but you know, of course, I know you guys discussed it earlier in the newspaper review as well as the headlines, but it's a huge topic and a very important conversation. So I'll take some reactions from Nigerians. This is from Niger Discipline, who wrote, "And so it begins. That statement was loaded. Federal government owes that money and will refund it. Fact. That response was a direct attack on Wike himself. I owe you nothing." Nyesom heard that loud and clear and knows he indeed, or he is in trouble. Well, another Twitter user there goes, "Tinubu has this unsettling honesty about him. Buhari has the same attribute as well. I owe you nothing." Tinubu says to Wike, he means it. There is no debating this. Wike understands this as well. There is no G-clown dragging happening. Tinubu won't accept any clowning from him. Well, this Twitter user goes, "It is important to note that this build and refund business is one of the ways state governors scam the federal government. They build, construct, and repair federal highways in their states, collude with Federal Ministry of Works officials for inflated valuations, and get presidents to pay back in a very discretionary, off-budget manner." Well, good news. Tinubu is signaling a stop to this waste of federal resources. After all, as Lagos governor, he reconstructed federal roads like Ahmadu Bello Awolowo Road, Alfred Ruwane, and much more, with no listening ears of President Olusegun Obasanjo, let alone refund. Like I said, it is such a very important conversation because, as you know, I believe Tinubu is one of those that have really called for the change of the Nigerian constitution to have, you know, the states have control of their resources, their infrastructure. And I think that he made that point loud and clear, even though people are saying that it is funny and, you know, it's a joke. I doubt that it is a joke, Ayo.
Yes, you're right. I think he must be speaking from experience, like, you know, the last Twitter user had mentioned, because the battle he faced with President Olusegun Obasanjo at the time of the PDP, when he repaired federal roads. In fact, was a tussle as to don't touch our roads, leave it the way it is. But as governor, he couldn't sit and see his, his people suffer plying these roads. So in terms of saying that he owes Governor Wike nothing, he even qualified it by saying that they are here, your people are using it. So, but there was an olive branch, if I put it that way, where he said, you can lobby me and we can talk about it later. Yeah. And that goes back to the previous tweet as well that was shown, whereby we had talked about this later, being these things where governors do by repairing roads, then going back for federal refund, is a scam in some instances. And we saw that play out in 2016, where 36 states applied for, a huge amount of money from the federal government, and this caused them to actually go and investigate. And we found out that 5 of them didn't actually follow due process. Some of them would do it without the approval, without supervision from the Ministry of Works and Housing, whose responsibility these roads are. Absolutely. Therefore, it could be a challenge. So it was great to see President-elect Bola Tinubu talk about the fact that it wasn't going to be business as usual. He would not, or it doesn't owe him anything, and he can lobby him later on if he finds that he has a case for this. Okay,
Dr. Patti, you wanted to say something?
Okay, one, if you say build and refund is a scam, it's not new. The thing has been on the table since. These state governments, they go and build what is called federal road, or they say they are maintaining it, and then it becomes an issue, they want a refund. Then they will add variations to it. You will have the federal government, Ministry of Works and Housing saying, oh, why didn't you inform us before jumping on top of our roads? And I said, maybe one of the things you need to look at is the exclusive legislative list with regard to the categorization of roads in Nigeria. In America, I think in 1916, under Woodrow Wilson, the decision was taken that states will be responsible for the maintenance of even the highways with support from the federal government. Maybe there is need to take a second look at that.
Absolutely.
And maybe that is what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is hinting at. It's not that he had issues with the Obasanjo administration. He actually took the Obasanjo administration to court on the issue of federalism. He also has a book on the issue of federalism, in Nigeria. So as, president of Nigeria, people will be looking forward to how he manages some of these issues. That's one. The second issue that I think came up at that event has to do with Governor Wike himself. And that's by way of additional comment to things I said earlier. He was saying that we need to take a second look at the Procurement Act. And we haven't amplified that, and I think it needs to be amplified, which says that if you engage a contractor, you pay the contractor 15 to 30%, not more than that. And Wike's proposal is that no, 15 to 30% discourages contractors, because by the time they get to the site and all the preparatory work, inflation will even have wiped out that 15 to 30%. So what in specific terms is Governor Wike recommending? Is he recommending that when contractors are given jobs, either at the state level or at the federal level, they should be given 100% of the money? Because he didn't state a specific percentage. But I think he raised an interesting issue in that regard that we can look at. The third thing that came up is that the president-elect went to Port Harcourt to go and visit Wike and commission projects. Members of his own party were excluded. This is a president-elect who has told us that he will run an inclusive government. He said he was calling on everybody to work with him. But he went to a state of the federation. He didn't even bother to make a phone call to his own gubernatorial candidate in the place. That is a very bad signal, because as Tonyeko pointed out this morning on this same program, President Tinubu is now, President-elect Tinubu is going to become president of all Nigerians. And he should not exclude anybody. His own party members complaining about exclusion, I think, is a very bad signal. Number 4, which is the point I had made earlier, he should not be tempted to engage in this going about commissioning projects and all that. He should keep himself in Defense House in Abuja, or stay in his house in Lagos and wait till May 29.
For security reasons,
When not even just for security reasons, until he's properly inaugurated as president. Because we don't have two presidents. We have only one president. Yes, as president-elect, he has become our property. It's our property. So that's why security details will follow him. He will receive security briefings, but he cannot start acting presidential yet. Yeah. I know it's a good thing for a man to be enthusiastic. He should moderate his enthusiasm and wait until he takes office. That's why when you have a king in waiting, it goes through Ikpebi, as Yorubas call it. Yeah. Then when he is crowned, he becomes the king. So let him not act as king before the moment.